It's the Jake and Ben Show. 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 Oh.
Hello, everybody. Jake here with Ben, and it's the new year. Hello, Ben.
Hello. It is the new year, 2019.
Yes. So that means we got some discussion of the previous year here, and just before we start with anything, we haven't been here in a hot minute, a few weeks or so.
Yeah.
It's not like we haven't been trying. We recorded a Christmas episode where we talked Star Wars and Christmas movies and whatnot. And once we finished recording and Ben sent me his audio and we put it all in, my audio had like this really strange rumble kind of just quietly in the background, and it was super distracting. So I tried denoising it and it made my audio sound horrible. Both were unusable. We decided we're not even going to release it. We'll just, we'll come in strong in 2K19 and hope that doesn't happen again. I've made some tweaks that will hopefully make so that doesn't happen again. So we're going to find out. But anyways, we're here. We're better. We're good. We're fresh. We're ready to do this. So
Yes.
we're going to do a top 10 of 2018 for you to start it off. Then we're probably going to, talk about what 2018 was as a whole, movie-wise, box office-wise, quality-wise, how it compares to other years. And but first, before anything, we'll start it off with our list. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna start with my 10 and down to my 4, and then Ben's gonna do his 10 down to his 4, and then we're gonna go back and forth with our 3. So I'll do my 3, Ben will do his 3, I'll do my 2, Ben will do his 2, and then we'll finish it off with our favorite movie of the year. So Ben has some. Ben has seen some movies that are on my list that I have not talked to Ben about. So I'm excited that when I hit these movies, Ben and I are going to have a brief discussion, about them, because I haven't heard Ben's thoughts. And I think, for our 10 through 4, we'll try and keep it quick. Maybe I'll say a couple things and Ben may have a few comments, or when Ben does his, I might have a few comments. But I think 10 through 4, for the most part, is going to be brief. Is that how you kind of see it, Ben?
That is how I see it. I mean, I got a couple honorable mentions.
Yes.
That I'll briefly talk about. Not, we're not giving reviews. We're just gonna say what our top 10 was. Briefly talk about it. And for me, when I do a top 10, it's it's my favorite movies, but also I put in like what was the best quality. So it's a mix of what do I think was the best, but also what was my favorite. Which that's what it's all about, right? A top 10 is your favorite films of the year.
Right, exactly. And to me, this is probably a discussion for another time, but to me, like, my favorite movies are also the best movies. Film is subjective. There's no quantifiable way to decide what movie is great and what movie is not great. So I guess to preface all of this with that is fair. Do you want me to start off with my honorable mentions?
Yeah, you start off with your honorable mentions, but, again, one other thing, disclaimer, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen.
Right,
and a lot of movies that potentially could make it on my list, but happen to live in a smaller market, don't get all the films. I'm not in the place where I can drive out an hour and a half to go see some of these films. So movies like If Beale Street Could Talk, The Favorite,
yes.
I believe you've seen that.
I've seen The Favorite,
so
yes.
We can talk about that. I mean, even here, I'm on Box Office Mojo. I see Beautiful Boy, and it says Amazon Studios. I didn't know that was the case, so maybe I can watch it on Amazon.
Yeah. So good call. Some movies that I really was hoping to see before this list, Green Book, You Were Never Really There, Suspiria, If Beale Street Could Talk, Beautiful Boy, and I'm sure there's some others. You may find when we come to our Oscar video later this year, we would have seen some of these movies by then, and we might mention, how we love them and they would have made our list and whatnot. But at the moment, we're in a smaller market around here, so we don't have access to all these movies, but that's a great disclaimer to make up front. So,
all right, here we go. Your honorable mentions.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So I'm just gonna peg them off. There's a bunch here. So we got Deadpool 2, Infinity War, 8th Grade, American Animals, The Favorite, which I just saw, which we just talked about, Mission Impossible, Fallout, Game Night. It was hard not putting Game Night on there. Isle of Dogs, Searching, and A Star Is Born. And A Star Is Born was just dethroned from my top 10 right before we started recording. So A Star Is Born was so close. All right. Those are my
Okay.
honorable mentions that may as well be a top
Out of
20
there.
list, but
There's a handful that, spoiler alert, will make it, and we'll find out soon enough.
okay.
For mine.
Okay. Okay. See, like Infinity War and Deadpool 2 are like those two big movies that I could have probably squeezed them on here, but my top 10, I just the movies on this top 10, like I think they're more timeless, and you can watch these in 30 years no context and still appreciate them and love them as much. So that's kind of where I come from with that.
Okay.
But let's
Yeah, let's
get
hear
into it. All right, so
Yeah.
my number 10, this is what dethroned A Star Is Born a few minutes ago, is Upgrade. A huge sci-fi guy and like a huge like body horror guy. So, I dug this movie greatly when I was excellent. I know you weren't a biggest fan of it. But
I liked it, but I thought the movie as a whole was average until we get to the end. The end is what
Excellent
makes
ending.
this film unique.
Yep.
And what makes it an awesome film, which is why I can't blame you for putting it up there.
Okay.
If you were into this film from start to when you get to the end, I can't see how you don't dislike it. If you were me and you're like, okay, it's okay. It reminded me a lot of, like, just, if you like it, it's your thing. It wasn't mine. A better version of Venom.
Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, I can see that for sure. All right, so I'm going to keep flying through this then. Number 9, we have Bad Times at the El Royale. I know
Okay.
this movie was underwhelming to some, but to me, excellent movie. The more I think about it, the more I love it. Chris Hemsworth in a really unique role. Totally
Yes.
dug it. Excellent cast, excellent characters. Just go into this thing just open-minded. Don't have expectations. Just see what the movie presents to you, and you'll dig it, I think. All right. Anything you want to
I want to
comment?
quickly,
Yep.
I want to quickly mention, because we didn't get a chance to talk about Bad Times at the El Royale. It is a movie I was really looking forward to. Cast, director Drew Goddard.
Yes.
I may have been on the side that was underwhelmed. I liked it.
Okay, that's fair.
Like you though,
Yeah.
the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of the film more than the film itself. And I got way more into it. I love Chris Hemsworth.
So good.
Because it's different. And you know what really stands, like when I think of this film, what I think of, he does this little dance towards the end, where he's moving his hips and shoulders, and for some reason that just sticks out. It's just, it was something that
Yes,
sticks out. I
yes.
like that little character moment
Yeah.
that he does, especially what it means in context of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. All right. After that, Widows. I think we briefly talked about this.
Yes.
Steve McQueen, I think, is one of the best living directors. Widows is excellent. Solid cast. You got to see it. It's the good Ocean's 8 movie. Yeah, check it out. All right. Any comments, or should I keep going?
Gotta see it.
Gotta see it. You do gotta see it. It's real good. I know you
I
had some
have to.
hesitations from what other people may have been saying when it.
Yeah, because at the time
release.
when it
Yeah.
came out, I was very busy and there was only a handful of movies I could see. And I, I had heard some mixed things about this. I've seen a lot of good stuff, but from people I kind of share same taste, and I heard that I could avoid this for now. So that is what I did. Maybe maybe that was a mistake, and I will find out soon enough when I see it.
Yes, for sure. All right. After that, we got what number are we on? I've said 3, so we're on.
You've done, okay.
Okay.
So you've done 10, 9, and 8. We're going on to your 7.
10, 9, 8. 7 is First Man. Another
Okay.
movie that I think you have to be patient with. I think it pays off emotionally. I'm a big fan of this kind of subject matter as a whole, moon landing, all of that. And this takes a very personal look at it. It's less about the science of it and more about the human element to it, which is a fascinating angle to it. And, Damien Chazelle does it again in a more unique, it's different than his other films in that it's bigger and it's tackling a far bigger subject matter than, Whiplash or La La Land. But I think the movie's great, and it's grown on me for sure.
Okay. With Bad Times at the El Royale, they opened up around the same time. Another movie we didn't get a chance to talk about. This is another one I was really looking forward to. I had it on my top 10 most anticipated for 2018. I was let down. I will be honest. I
Okay.
thought it was just very dull. There's a lot of great within it. Now, I mean, I got to watch it again. I have to watch it again because at first I go in with the mindset of, the moon landing. What does that mean? And this is very much a personal story.
Yeah,
Once
for
I
sure.
got past that in the first 15 minutes, realizing that it's not the film maybe I thought it was going to be. I put away those expectations, but I just found it very dull. And to be honest, I almost fell asleep in the middle of the film. However, I mean, when we get to the moon landing stuff, I think that is terrific. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I can imagine you not digging the movie as a whole if you only enjoyed the moon landing stuff, because it does come in so late in the movie. Yeah, but for me, this movie worked. It had a very particular style, which I dug, and yeah. All right, so the next movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think this is the best portrayal of Spider-Man we've had since Spider-Man 2, the best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. It's super progressive, and it doesn't beat you over the head about it. It respects everyone in the film. It's really emotional and heartfelt, and the animation style is very unique, and they just kind of go balls to the walls in the movie. It's like, they what's the expression about throwing everything? They do it all. They're firing on all cylinders. They're throwing shit. It's the best. Yeah, this is a excellent Spider-Man movie. Animation allowed them to do some unique things, and yeah, I dug it. We talked about this recently as well. We would have, except that one got cut. Right.
That was the one.
Oh shit. Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yes. We had a good discussion with that video, but you know what? Sometimes you got to go with, what's best. What was best was to cut that. I'll talk more about this film in a little bit.
Okay, cool. So next up, we got a Black Klansman. This is one of our very few video reviews on our channel. So
one of the last ones we did.
Was it one of the last ones? We should have done an Aquaman one, but I did see it a little late. But I would be curious.
2019, we'll step up our video.
Yeah, I think we should. All right, so Black Klansman, Adam Driver is one of the best living actors. This story, the true story, is absurd, and it translates really well to screen. Yeah, I honestly haven't seen this in a hot minute. I just know I love this movie. Check out a review if you want to see more. But I'm not sure if you have anything you want to add beyond what we may have said.
I will
before.
have more to add in a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the fourth best movie of the year now is Annihilation. I believe we had a separate upload for this.
Yeah, we did.
Early on. It wasn't video, but it was a separate bonus episode. And, I love this movie. This kind of like vague sci-fi genre is it's my jam. It's my favorite genre out there. This like very subtle, grounded sci-fi, made for the cheap, relatively cheap, of course. It's my thing. I love this movie. Alex Garland is an incredible filmmaker. Ex Machina was excellent. He follows up with another excellent movie. It has to kind of be your thing for you to enjoy it. Like, it gets to some. You don't get all the answers, and it's very ambiguous, that type of thing. So you got to be down for it. And I know Ben wasn't the biggest fan of this movie.
I was not. I was so let down from this movie.
Yeah.
I was really excited. Love the cast.
Yeah, excellent cast.
To say positives, visually stunning, shot beautifully. Natalie Portman, she does show up. She gives a great performance.
for sure.
Tessa Thompson, I Am Groot. That's all I'll say if you've seen it. If you'll understand the reference.
Yep.
Other than that, I wasn't too into the story. Like, it kind of had me, and then it just lost me. And the ending, didn't like it whatsoever.
Okay.
And it lost me.
And this, to me, is
I
how
should
you
watch
do.
it again.
You should, of course, you should. Especially a movie like this kind of demands rewatch.
Yeah. I was so uninterested.
It's fair.
I mean, one more positive. The score was really good. I think it was one of the better ones of the year. But I was just so uninterested.
Okay. See, to me, this is how you do a relatively all-female cast where no one comments on it. It's just accepted, and the audience doesn't even think about it because it's done so realistically, and no one's beating you over the head about it. This is how you do it. This is the movie to watch. If you're a sci-fi fan, if you're maybe a little sci-fi horror fan, if you're a fan of like female empowerment, this is the one. It's subtle, it's smart, and it's how you do it. All right. So, Ben, I think it is now time for you to tell me your favorite movies.
It is time. Okay, listen. So, I've got a list. and I have a little issue here. I got an issue. I have to bump 2 films right now. And I think I know which ones I'm going to bump, but there's one I really don't want to bump. And why I'm nervous to bump it is because one of the ones that is on there is something I watched recently, and the one that I might have to bump is one I haven't seen in a little bit. Okay. So I kind of don't want to bump it to be like, oh, I just seen this one, but I got to think of what the film meant. So let me start off with saying honorable mentions. Now, within this, maybe we'll talk more about it in a little bit, but this year, there were a lot of good films, not a lot of great films. There were great films, but I didn't feel there was a lot. There was a lot of good. Mm-hmm. So I think you'll see that within my honorable mentions.
Okay.
8th Grade. I'd say it's one of the really good to writing great movies.
Okay.
Love, Simon. I know it's not a film that you were into.
Not at all.
But it's one that really hit with me. Really hit. Okay. There's one in here where I mentioned I was disappointed, but I did like it. Like, it's not to say I didn't like it. I was just kind of disappointed with First Man. It's not, when I say First Man in honorable mentions, it's not even close to cracking my top 10. It's just one that, like, it is good. I do appreciate it, but I still was disappointed in.
Okay.
So maybe I should just even throw it off there. There's one in here that I kind of don't want to, I'll say it, but we'll save the conversation because I think it's coming up soon. Mandy.
Okay.
Is that coming up soon?
It's coming up soon. It's coming up soon.
Okay. Black Panther. It's on the honorable mentions. I recently rewatched it because of certain Oscar buzz around it. This was something I said back in February. I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. And because of the, let's say, lack of great movies, not that there isn't, there's still great movies out there, but because there may not be as many, I feel this one has a real shot, especially seeing other award shows, well, just other awards nominating this film. I think there is a legitimate shot for this one being nominated. And I think just take away what you think of the film. When I had predicted that it would, it wasn't my belief of what I thought of the film. I think it's a really good film. I don't think it's a great film. However, I just think it's going to, I mean, I think of something Larry King said. I think of this more in a joking way, but I guess it makes sense with this one. It may not mean something to you, but it means something to me. There's a whole bunch of people out there thinking of that. I've talked to a lot of people, and listen, I don't want to say it. I don't even want to go there, but I'll say it. I've talked to a lot of, just white people that are like, it's good, I just don't understand it. And I'm like, listen, it's good to me, but as white people, we've had a lot of films that cater to us that if you're a black kid out there, I can see how this one's special, which is why I think it transcends the movie itself. I think what gets this nominated isn't the movie, what the movie means.
To me, that's disappointing, but that's probably a topic for our Oscars conversation. Yes.
And this is one in here where you're going to be very upset. Okay. But I got to be honest, I did really like it. Again, this is not even close to my top 10, but I did really like it. Honorable mentions, Solo. I know you are not a fan of this.
Yes, correct.
But it really, this one tickled my
fancy.
This
is also one of our infamous reviews that were never released. With
yes.
With the bee attacking us.
So, honorable mentions out of the way. Let's go for it.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So, you know what? Maybe I'll say 2 more. I'm bumping Deadpool 2 and I'm bumping Searching. I don't want to bump Searching because I think it was a very unique film. Yeah. I feel bad bumping it, but I'm going to.
Okay.
It was one I thought was going to be shticky, but it wasn't. Speaking of shticky, I thought that the way mid-90s was shot was going to rub me the wrong way. It didn't. I thought it was very... Jonah Hill just did a kick-ass job with this film. And why I say that is I think of when I was around the age of this kid, which, hey, this is the kid that was the son in God of War. Look at that.
Really?
I didn't know until I was like, this guy seems familiar, and he sounds familiar.
He's also in Killing of a Sacred Deer, if you've seen that.
Okay.
It's Colin Farrell's son. That team.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this movie, mid-90s. I think it's coming up for you, so maybe we can save the talk, but I love what Jonah Hill did is that I was around this, what this movie was revolved around in my youth. Mm-hmm. And I see every character in there, I know that person. I can think of who that person is, and I know that person. I think Jonah Hill killed that. Hopefully that makes sense of what I'm saying, which is why it would be my top 10. I think it's a great film. It's nice and short, gets to the point, and it's just an awesome film. Jonah Hill, what did it mean? What a director. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah. Should I save my thoughts for when it comes up on my list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's a movie. I didn't think it was going to be on here because I didn't even know anything about it. Blind Spotting. I was going through what can I watch, and I'd seen this, and I only knew about it because of Janina Gavankar. I follow her on the gram, and I seen this, and I was like, maybe I'll go check it out, watch it. I think it's a fucking awesome film. There's some real shit within this film. It's got a message, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. And when it does tell you, like, you know what this movie is about in the opening, but it is wrapped around a lighthearted vibe to it, and then you get to the end, and there's something very powerful within it. I can see how you're watching, you're like, wow, that's goofy, but it worked for me.
Okay.
So that is my 9.
Okay.
Man, okay. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to flip-flop.
Okay.
So I did my 10, my 9.
Yeah.
So here comes my 8. It's Creed 2.
Oh,
Creed
shit.
2 is a film where I feel, to me, I look at the film like Rocky 2. Rocky 1, the better film, just Rocky 2 hit me in a way. Rocky 1 didn't. I just love the film. Creed, better film. I just love Creed 2 more, like Rocky 2. I love what it has to say, even, just about, fathers and sons. There's 3 different angles of it, of how they approach it. Stephen Cable Jr., how is this film going to be without Ryan Coogler? I think Stephen Cable does a great job. And I love what this film means for the Rocky universe. And yeah, that is my, what number is that? Did I say that's my 8?
That's your 8, yeah.
My 8, okay. Do you have anything you want to say about Creed 2?
No, not anything beyond what we have talked about before. Wait, or was that, okay, the Creed 2 one is up, right? I think the Creed 2 one is.
That's a good question. I think so.
Yeah, I think that was before the last episode. Yeah, I still haven't changed my thoughts about it. I do not blame you at all for putting that on. I do not begrudge you at all for putting that on your top 10. Solid movie. Let's go.
Okay. I'm looking at my list is in front of me, and it's I'm looking at it, and I didn't make the changes to it because I wanted to do it while we were recording. So I'm gonna do another switch up.
Oh my god.
My number 7 will be Mission Impossible Fallout.
Okay. Solid movie. Yep.
What a fantastic movie.
That's another video review we have for that one.
Yes. Yeah. It's fucking awesome.
Excellent.
I wasn't a Mission Impossible fan until like a year ago.
Best true action movie of the year for sure, I think.
Ooh, easily. I think it's one of the best action movies in like recent time.
Yep.
It's so good. I love, like, to me, the Mission Impossible movies, once JJ came in, they kept getting better. After, JJ was 3, better than what, the other 2. 4 comes out. Brad Bird did that, I believe. Better than the JJ one. And then McQuarrie, is it Christopher McQuarrie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes in. Rogue Nation,
yeah.
For me, I feel he does a better job. And then comes back again, and I think he outdoes himself in this film. Action, whoa. To me, the ending, it did get me. I think if the ending doesn't get you, you're probably not into this film as much. But if you buy the ending, I guess the twist of the ending, then how does it not work? It's awesome. Best action movie in a long time. Tom Cruise kills it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Here it comes. What number was that? I'm already losing track. I can't keep track of time.
Creed
7?
was 8, so
okay, so that's 7. Okay, my 6. It's Black Klansman.
Okay.
A movie you had mentioned already. We've done a video review. I think it's awesome. I love what this film means. It has, real shit within this film, but also wrapped within, there's a lot of funny stuff within it and uncomfortable humor.
Yes.
And Adam Driver is fantastic. Denzel's son, forget his name. He is fantastic in this also. And this is a film that, in a couple months we may be talking about for Oscars, whether that be Adam Driver, Best Picture, we'll see. And I hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 6. So we're going on to my 5. And my number 5, the best Spider-Man film since Spider-Man Homecoming.
That's
right.
You bastard.
That's right. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's, for me, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Depending on the day, it's either Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
And then let's not talk about the rest.
Okay.
Except maybe the first Amazing Spider-Man. All right. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Talk about awesome score. Talk about awesome soundtrack. Talk about fucking awesome spider people. Talk about amazing animation. Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
They didn't direct it though, right?
They didn't direct.
It's a bizarre list of directors. It's 3 people.
Yes.
with like minimal direct, like they have like one other directing credit between the three of them, I believe. I think they just have a lot of work in animation. It was confusing to me, and I see Phil Lord and Chris Miller talking about the movie on Twitter.
I believe
like crazy,
it's
and
Phil Lord who is credited for more stuff.
Okay.
I believe he's credited for writing. I don't think Chris Miller is, but he's credited for producing.
Okay, yeah. So I thought that was bizarre, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, there were some people that thought, hey, you know, what if their version of Solo got out there? I'm still in the camp of, from what I heard, I'm glad it didn't. That's a different discussion. This movie, awesome. It definitely, like Blind Spotting and Black Klansman, it has a message behind it, but it's not beating you over the head.
Not at all.
With it, which is nice. It's very nice. To me, okay. There's going to be a movie coming up here that is one of my favorites for what it meant to me. With that being said, I do think there's a discussion of what was the best comic book movie of 2018. I think this is in contention with the one I'm going to mention later on, and I probably for a lot of people, this is the one. This, I don't see how it's not nominated for Best Animated for the Oscars. To me, as of now, I gotta say it wins. I mean, maybe Isle of Dogs is there also. Incredibles 2, I assume, will be nominated. I think it's good. I just don't think it's in the same level as Into the Spider-Verse.
I agree completely.
Okay, so that was what, my 6? My 5?
Creed was 8, and then it was Fallout, and then it was this, I think.
Okay.
So you're on... or no, Black Klansman was in there somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So we have Mid-90s at 10. We have Blind Spotting at 9. We have Creed at 8. Mission Impossible at 7, and we got Black Klansman at 5.
Oh, Black Klansman
at 6. I just messed up. Okay, listen.
Black
all
Klansman at 6,
all
Spider-Man
I know,
at 5.
All I know is I got 4 movies still to say.
Okay.
So I got one more to say, and it's going back to you.
Okay.
Man, okay. I'm looking at my list, and these two are so close together that... Man, what am I doing here? A Quiet Place. Wow, A Quiet Place. It's a movie that has stuck with me. Like some of the movies we mentioned before, it's a movie with a message. Not like it's not one that's going to change things. It's just of being a father, living in this world, that type of stuff.
Right.
And within that, I mean, John Krasinski, man, what an accomplishment. A shot that sticks out to me of one of my favorite shots of the year, and it's not even more of a shot, just of the sequence. And talk about score. Is when shit hits the fan and you see John Krasinski running back to the house and you got the red lights, and it's just, whoa, what a film. I love the monsters in here.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch it for sure.
The kids definitely work. I'm not a big fan of kids in movies or TV. I think kids take away from TV most of the time, but I mean, unless you're Stranger Things. Wow, what a film. This film is awesome. Emily Blunt is awesome, and hopefully she gets some recognition, whether it's for this or Mary Poppins. I haven't seen Mary Poppins, but I mean, people are telling me that she could get recognition for that. We'll see soon. So there's my 4. It's going back to you for your 3.
Okay. So first, Quiet Place. I want to rewatch that. I dug that movie. Really good movie. Didn't make my honorable mentions. Didn't make my top 10. Spoilers, but a movie that I want to see again. Okay. So my top 3 are what save this year for me, in that they're actually amazing movies. They're fucking incredible. And like you were saying, this year had a lot of good movies, and I found that too, but there are a few movies that blew my mind. See, okay, well, this is a topic for another time, but I mean for later in this episode I'm going to go into that more in detail. But here we go. Number 3, huge horror guy, favorite genre, and this is one of the scariest and one of the best horror movies ever made. It's Hereditary. I absolutely adore Hereditary. I've seen it. I saw it twice in theaters, and I have watched it a couple times on Blu-ray since. I get something new from it every time. I went in it not knowing much, so I hope other people go in not knowing much. It's been out for a while now, but if you're just if you're just watching this episode and hearing about it for the first time, or you haven't seen it, go see it. Especially if you're a fan of horror, and I wouldn't even suggest watching the trailers, because I think that's where a lot of the audience lost this movie. The trailer set up kind of something different, and it's it's a far more personal story than the trailers will lead you to believe, but it is still terrifying. If you're kind of scared of the dark, it does some incredible things with the dark. You got to see this movie. It's incredible. I'm blanking on the lead actress's name, but Toni Collette Sarah? No, what's her name? Is that her name? What's her name?
Good question. I can look it
Something
up.
like that. If not, I feel like an idiot. But she deserves an Oscar. I think she has one of, if not the best performance of the year. And yeah, fucking this movie is incredible.
Yeah.
The kids are incredible too. So it was Toni Collette. Yes, okay. The little girl in this is fantastic. You were just talking about kids. This is one of the best child performances. She doesn't say much, but she is excellent. You got this movie. It got me. Afterwards, I was still thinking about it. This movie got me, and not many movies do that.
Okay.
Whew.
It's a movie I still have to see. It's one.
Oh shit, you haven't seen it yet?
No.
No.
I mean, for Toni Collette, I have heard some buzz around her. I'm not sure if she was nominated for anything in award shows coming up. That's something I guess we could research for when we get to Oscars. We can look at, who's been nominated for what, and let's see if, what will happen.
Yes.
So that's your 3. Your 3 is Hereditary. Okay. My 3. This is one that I would like to watch again, and especially I didn't even, this movie's so good I didn't even notice a lot of things within it, is Roma. It's by
okay.
The director, great
Yes,
director.
Alfonso
What's his name?
Cuarón.
Alfonso Cuarón. So he directed one of the best Harry Potter films, from what people tell me. I can't remember all that well, but people tell me he directed the best one, Gravity. He's a fantastic director. I didn't even know this was a Netflix film. I heard so much about this, so I was like, what is it? When is it coming out? How can I see this? And then I see it's a Netflix film. And when I happened to look, it was dropping on Netflix the next day. So I was like, hey, look at that. So put on this film. It's black and white. And I'm not going to give too much because I didn't know anything about it.
I had known nothing, and I really want to see it. So
I don't want to say anything about it. If just know it's a very good film. I don't see how Alfonso Cuarón doesn't get nominated for Best Director. Now, I don't know if this is the case, but I think so, because when I looked, I didn't see any other. So the main actress, I didn't see any other credits for anything. Maybe she's done stuff, but she's not credited for anything. So if that is the case, that she is an actress that has done nothing, you got to, oops, I just knocked my stand there. You got to give him at least a nomination, because what he gets out of her is brilliant. This is a movie with not a lot of dialogue, and I think one thing that holds it back from getting Best Picture nom is that it's in Spanish, so the subtitles. So does it get, foreign film nod? I think it's ridiculous if that's the case. If you're going to have an award show and say Best Picture, I don't think it should matter what language it is. A Best Picture is a Best Picture. So we'll see. I mean, to some people, it might not hit you that way, but this is a movie that tells a very personal story. And what I didn't know, and I heard this from Scott Mann, so last time I listened to somebody, I was wrong, and I'm looking at, Black Panther, who I was told someone's son was in there, and it was the opposite. Oh, yeah. So... But from thinking back, I'm pretty sure he was right, of that this film has no score in it. I didn't notice because the movie is that good. This movie does use a lot of long takes, so that might take you out of it. It almost took me out in the beginning, because there is a shot in the beginning that goes on for 4 minutes. And I was like, when are we getting off this shot?
Yeah, that's kind of his thing. Alfonso Cuarón does a lot of shots like that.
Yeah, so I guess the one thing that just kind of irked me was that we spent 4 minutes on this one shot that it sets up, and like once seeing the film in context, it sets up the film and what this person's journey is. But I think there could have been a minute shaved off that. Aside from that, I think it's a very good personal story, and this is, again, can't say it. I don't see how he doesn't get nominated for Best Director. He is an amazing director, and I don't want to say this because then you hear people say, well, don't put a director in a box. But as a fan of a franchise, I can't help but think, what could Alfonso Cuarón do with a certain franchise named Star Wars?
That's an excellent pick. Wow.
If I could have one director do something in Star Wars, it's Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, I see. I'm a big fan of his.
Brilliant.
Children of Men, Gravity. He's an excellent director, one of the best today. And I got to see this friggin' movie because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know why I haven't seen it yet. I've just been only watching Game of Thrones. I feel bad about that. But I gotta see this movie for sure, and I can't believe it's so high up on your list. Makes you gotta watch it even more.
If I watch it again, it could move up. Let's say could maybe move down one watching it again. But the more I think about it, I've watched a lot of Narcos lately, and it's not a Narcos movie, but there's just the same type of feel towards it. And the more I think about it, the more I get into this film. I think it's a film that the more you think about it, and if you watch it a second time, you're going to get more out of it. I can already see how watching it a second time and knowing what happens, I can get more out of it.
Okay, sweet. All right, so what was that? That was your number?
So that was my 3. So now we're sending it back to you for your number 2.
Okay, so let's do it. My number 2. Okay, here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, so I just got this movie on Blu-ray, and I haven't rewatched it on Blu-ray yet, but I've been meaning to because I could see how this movie could be my number 1. It's my number 2 right now.
Okay.
I saw my number 1 more recently than this, and I think that plays into their positioning. You know, it's a lot more recently, has more effect, but
I think I know what this one is.
Okay, so number 2 is Mandy. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Number 2 is Mandy. This movie is a fucking ride. It's the best Nicolas Cage has been in a long time. The first half of this movie is kind of like slow art house, kind of like abstract type thing, and the second house is like super grindhouse, gory, absurd B-movie type stuff, and the two halves blend so well. There's just the style and feel and atmosphere is still held throughout. It's super flashy, it's super grainy, it's got a lot of red and blue, and that's consistent. Nicolas Cage's performance is consistently excellent, but it does reach the absurd levels closer to the latter half that you expect from Nicolas Cage. And like I said, it's the best Nicolas Cage has ever been. This is the first movie I've seen from this director. I know he has another one, Black Rainbow or something along those lines, that I've actually had on my watch list for probably a year now. That I saw Mandy, then I went back and realized, oh shit, that's the director of that movie that I've been meaning to see for a long time. So I totally got to watch that, more so now than ever. This movie, man, it's just like a kick-ass hardcore time at the movies. It's so metal. It's balls to the walls. I adore this movie. I got to check it out again. Now that I talk about this, I want to make it my number 1, but I'm not changing it now. Just know my number 1, 2, they go back and forth. That's usually what happens most years.
Okay.
But yeah,
I was looking forward to this because I just watched it, didn't see it in the theater, and I heard a lot about it. It's, Nick Cage, he's really good. It's balls to the wall. I watched this, and I watched it in doses. I watched the first half, took a break, watched the action part the next day, and I like this film. It's in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I'm conflicted, but not in the way I'm conflicted with Vice, because Vice, there's a part of me that I love this film, and there's a part of me that hates this film. This, I don't have a part that hates it. I have a part where I'm like, okay, what did I watch? Because I know I liked it, but what did I watch? Because I have no idea what I watched.
It's like an LSD trip.
It really
the whole movie is. That's what I love about it.
The movie is metal for half of it, and then it's straight screamo the other half.
Okay.
And in the latter half of it, I just want to hear some Metallica in the background, maybe some Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
When Nick Cage is just killing everybody.
Chainsaw and shit. Yeah. Excellent.
It is a very good film. I love the use of animation within the film. I love the colors in this film. I do love the way it was shot, and those biker people. It kind of reminded me of like a metal. Because Mad Max is metal. Mad Max is just straight metal. This is like fucking hardcore, heavy metal screamo.
Okay.
And those bikers definitely reminded me of a much more intense version of
I can see
some
that.
Mad Max shit.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage, and he's really good, but there's one thing that stands out that just made me laugh really hard. It's at the end. He's in the car.
Is it the smile? Because I was just thinking,
dude, it's the smile.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, it's the smile at the end in the car.
It's so
amazing.
Creepy. It is creepy. It's amazing, but creepy, especially in context with what that scene is.
Yeah, it's so good.
It made me laugh.
That's funny that as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, it's the smile. And then you continue, and I'm like, oh, it is the smile.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
And I had this discussion with somebody recently of, is nudity really necessary in film or television? And within this conversation I had, I leaned on the side where it's really not necessary, and there's ways you can cheat it and you don't need to see it. And part of the reason we had this discussion was I had read this article of how Emma Stone was saying she really wanted to do this nude scene. And I mean, if you want to do it, go ahead. But I was curious, like, is it really necessary to do a nude scene?
Was this about The Favorite?
Yeah, The Favorite. I also read a story of this actress, Samara Weaving, I believe, of she had an incident on this TV show about a nude scene. And I was just thinking, like, is nude scenes really necessary? And I think of this movie. I don't think I benefited from seeing that dude's cock. And speaking of cock scene, dude, in Roma, there is a scene where you see this guy's dick, and it's the funniest thing I've seen this year, just because it's so intense and it is hilarious. But
God,
I mean,
that's funny.
I'm just
the
curious.
Dick thing in Manny didn't bother me at all. I think it fit into the whole experience. Whether nudity is necessary in film or not, I think. Oh, this is probably a topic for another time because I think I'd.
It is a topic for another time.
But I think nudity has a place in film for sure. Yeah, you can cheat it sometimes, and I think it's necessary to cheat it if it's being exploitive or if it's, it's just kind of like, look at this attractive nude person kind of thing. I think in Mandy, it adds to the discomfort, which I think is vital to the scene.
Yeah, there was one, like when I had this conversation with somebody, they'd mentioned this one scene, and it was the only one that I thought where I'm like, you know what, that definitely added to it, and it was in Game of Thrones, The Shame scene.
Yeah,
that one definitely added to.
Interesting, because that's not actually Lena Headey.
No, yeah, it was
it's not even her.
A body double.
I'm curious, what did Emma Stone say about the nude scene? Because she is nude in the movie.
Yeah, I forget of what she said.
Not full body, but like, she is nude.
Again, I'm gonna. There's articles out there where she's talking, so I'm just gonna paraphrase. But it was she was saying to the extent that she really wanted to do the scene and insisted on doing it nude.
Interesting. Okay.
Which I guess for there, do you think it was necessary in there?
See, I it's really not that nude. I mean, she's just like in a bed and you see her top, like you see her breasts, just that's it, and it's for a split second. It does help, I think. I think it is not necessarily, but it does add to that scene, because that is a very powerful moment, especially in the context of the two main characters. You got to see. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Now I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking, you know what? We have some stuff we want to talk about. So, well, it's I'll can this discussion to move on to my number 2. With this one, I think it's a great film, but also the theater experience definitely heightened this. I believe A Star Is Born opened up the same weekend as Venom. If that is the case, I chose to see A Star Is Born. Right. I know it opened up simultaneously with something, and I seen it in AVX. So with that, the concert scenes were fucking awesome.
Incredible, yeah.
It was incredible, and it put me right in there. And what surprised me was how well the music actually was within the film. Very good. I love what this movie means. I love the story it tells. Bradley Cooper was phenomenal, and the ending, very powerful. Bradley Cooper, just this movie needs to be recognized somewhere, whether it's Bradley Cooper as an actor, whether it's screenplay, whether it's directing or best picture, supporting actress. Give us something, just something. And I loved seeing Andrew Dice Clay in here. I remember I was talking about Andrew Dice Clay a year ago. Nobody knew who I was talking about. And I was like, how do you not know the Dice Man? And for people to now see him in this movie, I think it's nice for younger people to see who the Dice Man is. You see Dave Chappelle. There's a lot of, I love the people within this film. And I think it's an awesome film. It hit me emotionally, which is why I have it number 2.
Yeah, this movie, I did boot it off my list, but this movie probably got one of the biggest emotional reactions from me, just like deep in the core. You feel it by the end of this movie. And the music outside of the context of this movie, I'm not the biggest fan of. It's all right. It's not my jam. But in the movie, with Bradley Cooper, with seeing Lady Gaga, and their chemistry, the music works so much better. I think Bradley Cooper is an excellent director. Yeah, it's the concert scenes of this movie are great, and the emotion is totally there. I do not fault you for putting this on your list, even at number 2, it's a great movie. I want to see it again, even though I'm
Was
scared
this-
to watch it again.
Oh man, I know. Yeah, it is, and it's a real like. I know there was 2 other movies of this, and I don't know those films.
Yeah, me
so
either.
I can't compare them. But for today's time and entertainment, it very much is the stories that you hear of. I mean, without spoiling, of how it can be within the industry.
Yeah,
and how heartless it can
it's
be.
definitely relevant even still today.
For me, like the first act, third act are phenomenal. I really like the second one, but I mean, I can understand criticisms of how it slows down but speeds up, if that makes sense. Where it is the slower part of the film, but it speeds up so much where you're jumping over so many things.
I see what
that
you're
I can
saying.
understand
Yeah.
as a criticism, but
I get that.
it definitely worked as a whole. Which is, I mean, number 2. I love this film. It's fun. It's fantastic. Okay, so now we're
okay.
down to number 1.
Number 1.
So
Yep.
I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Okay.
I'm looking at the time, and you're number 1. I know what it is.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Yeah. It's been this since I saw it. It's mid-90s. Speaking of movies that moved us emotionally, this is just incredible. You watch these casts of characters, and you don't really know how you feel about them at first. They're kind of like arrogant little kids, and it's like, oh, what the fuck, you're just a bunch of assholes. And as the movie goes along, you start to feel and care more about them. You understand where they're coming from. The relationship between each one of the characters forms, as does the audience relationship with them, and it just builds and builds this friendship that when things happen closer to the end, it hits you. And you were both 90s babies, and even beyond that, I think this movie will still work for just anyone who grew up with friends or a lack of friends or trying to fit in. There's a lot of skateboarding. Skateboarding is a big backdrop to this movie, but you don't have to have been a part of this skating community to appreciate it. And I think that's important.
You
Like,
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to, but being a part of it, it definitely Jonah Hill, he
Yeah.
fucking knows it, because that is
Yeah.
exactly what it is. There's not one thing in there I'm like, that is fake.
Yeah, it
I was a
feels
part of that
super
community for a
authentic.
long time, and like I
wait, you
said,
skateboarded?
yes,
Me
yes, I
too.
did.
We should skateboard
And
sometime. I used to skateboard as a kid.
You know what?
but-
Okay, so here's the thing of why. Okay. This is where I can understand if you're like, this shouldn't take away from your enjoyment of the film. I was in that community for a while, and like I said, I know these people, but it was a time, like Kylo Ren says in The Last Jedi, let the past die, kill it if you have to. That is how I feel about those times. And it didn't take away from enjoyment, but I went into this film with my guard up because of it, because I don't want to go back to those times.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
So, I was a part of this community for a while, and again, there's nothing fake about this film. Even to the music, it's spot on.
It's got the
it's so
best
good.
soundtrack, and even the score beyond that. It's
So good.
yeah, it's so good. There's some other things I just wanted to hit on, but I'm forgetting. The relationship with him and the main character and his brother is a fascinating one
what?
too, and the growth of that is super touching.
I got to ask you something.
Okay.
To me, something I felt was missing from this film was that relationship. I feel like it just scratched the surface.
Okay. See, I thought it was subtle, and I could see why you think that, but it's
let
the
me ask you a
quiet
question.
moments and the very few moments that we get that I think makes it work. All right, what's up?
That stuff is strong. I get it. But there is one point in which it's like towards the middle of the film when kid comes home and his brother's freaking out. And within that moment, I don't have a brother, so I don't know what those relationships are like. However, you hear how it can be violent. To me, that scene made me question whether he has a mental illness or if it's just because to me, what he does in that scene seems a little extreme, especially his reaction afterwards.
Yes, I think a mental illness angle to it is definitely possible. It's also like the public awareness to mental illness in the 90s, and for something like that would be a lot less prevalent than today. I think it is extreme for sure. It's uncomfortable, definitely uncomfortable. There's a few things in this movie that are uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Because there's a really good scene in here, and I think it could maybe be one of the uncomfortable ones for some people. And mentioning is nudity necessary? There is a scene in here that is very, very spicy. Let's say
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable because
spicy.
of the ages. Is that
because of the ages.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, but it's executed very well.
Uh-huh.
And that's a scene where it's like you could have put that there, but again, it would have been more uncomfortable because of the ages. But it was so good the way it was presented
get what
that
you're
was I think again, he just hits that community so well, and whether it's the group of guys or the group of girls, I know those people,
Yeah.
which is why.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, it could be higher up, but I like it where it is on mine. But it's a very good film. I can't wait to see more from Jonah Hill. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah. Sorry if you just heard noises. I
Wow.
just had to put a battery in my
Wow.
camera and charge my batteries for tomorrow. Anyways, yeah. And this movie did get a lot of backlash for like homophobic slurs and whatnot, but
You
it's
know what?
authentic, and
Okay.
this is from a different
Yeah.
time, and it's art.
Here's what I
and
gotta say.
People get offended about everything.
Here's
That's
what I gotta say. Yeah, people do. People do get offended about everything. And the thing is, what I was saying, this film, I didn't even know that was backlash, but I can understand within today's time. This film, again, if you were in that community, that's what it was like. It was like that. And not to say that's good or bad. Like,
No,
it's not to say to give it a pass, but if you
Yeah.
want to give a real portrayal of that community,
Exactly.
that's what it was.
That's what
I know
yeah.
that guy exactly.
Exactly.
And like when I say I know these people, I see these characters, and from what I experienced, I know that guy. I can put a name to him. I can put a face to him. And there was plenty of people like that. So
Yeah.
I feel if that's backlash, that is your own insecurity
Exactly. See,
of watching
me,
it.
To me, it's like, yeah, the movie has homophobic slurs and a lot of it, and that's how it was in the 90s. Like, I remember as a kid being part of not exactly to this community like you say, but you know, my friends and myself as a kid would say that, and I'm not saying it's right, and the movie's not saying it's right either. They're just saying that's how it was, and that's what Jonah Hill will tell you. You know, Jonah Hill obviously is not an advocate for homophobic slurs or insulting the LGBT community, and you know, most people that dug this movie aren't a fan of doing that, but it's how it was back then. You know, it's just that's how people spoke. That's how ignorant kids spoke. You know, it's just like kids who are raised by this circle of friends. It's how they spoke. So it's
You know what?
it's
I know
authentic.
we're running a little long and we talked about time, but you know what I'm curious to
Yeah.
see
Okay.
is that we live in an outrage culture. We do. Quentin Tarantino, his last movie that came out was what, 2015?
Yes, Hateful Eight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think outrage culture was to its peak as where it is now. I'm very curious to see within the
I'm
peak of
excited to
outrage
see.
culture how.
I don't even think Tarantino will give a shit.
Oh, he won't give a shit whatsoever. But I'm curious
Love
how, if people had backlash towards this, I'm curious what then people will think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because if there were people that were a little too PC with this film, then I don't think they've ever watched film in general.
Yeah, I think there's like this community. It's this outrage culture of like where art can no longer offend or question or challenge. It just has to be sanitary, and has to be safe, and it has to please everyone, and it can't upset or offend anyone. As if being upset is being offended is like the biggest crime in the world right now. It sickens me. It's sad, and I hope it's just something that'll pass.
Yeah, I hope so too. And like that's why I don't like to give recognition to things like that. But
That's fair.
I feel like that's what art is to show you the uncomfortable parts of
sure.
life, and to how do you deal with that? How do we work around this?
Mm-hmm.
Is to show you those uncomfortable parts.
Yeah.
And with it, obviously to be represented also. That's a big thing of this year was representation. I think we got a lot of that this year, which you want to talk about things that were positive of this year. Again, representation. I think that was very strong this year, and I think we're scratching the surface. See, look at that. We're going long. I'm already forgetting how to speak.
Yeah. All right. Hold on.
So-
Before we go any further, you still have your number one.
I got my number one.
I say we
Yeah.
put the rest of what we want to talk about in the next video when we do our most anticipated. Just because
Yeah.
the time, we're
Yeah.
at our time where we're like, if we hit there, we fucked up. We're at that time.
That's right. Well, you know what? We're not at that time yet because I'm dropping the gauntlet, and that is right. My number one happens to deal with the gauntlet. That's Infinity War.
Boom.
This movie. What now? You had mentioned something that these films in your top 10 list will be films that you could watch like 30 years from now without context. That ain't Infinity War. You can't
No.
watch this film without context. No way in hell. Because this film without context, it's probably not that good. It's not that good without context.
Yeah, or it's definitely weaker.
context.
It's definitely weaker.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. With context, with 10 years of context, what we've been building towards, this film, it just hit me. It hit me in the spot. 'Cause when I think of films that I can remember going to the theater, Iron Man, Revenge of the Sith, Rocky Balboa, Superman Returns. So those are the ones in my younger age that I can vividly remember going to the theater to see those. I mean, sure, there was Spider-Man 2 and, Attack the Clones, but those were vague memories. I don't remember the whole experience as I do with Revenge of the Sith, Superman Returns, Iron Man, and Rocky Balboa. Those were the ones when I was like 6 to 10. What was I, 10 when? I would have been 11 when Iron Man came out, so that's obviously why it's stronger in there. Well, actually, no, I would have been 10 because I would have turned 11 a little after. Okay, so yeah, just what this movie meant. It hit me emotionally, and I never thought that I'd see Spider-Man in an Avengers film, which was something that was very special to have. Seeing all these heroes come together, and a guy I didn't even care about until Ragnarok, talk about Thor, having the best moments of this film, seeing Thanos as my favorite villain in all of the MCU, which I know it's not saying much, but to me, I think he was
It's saying
fantastic.
something, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, if Thanos doesn't work for you, I can understand why this movie might not be, up there for you. But for me, he really worked. Josh Brolin killed it. It's my favorite MCU movie, and it may not be the best movie of this year. I mean, I can admit that, but it was my favorite. It's one that hit me in a place that, like, listen, the reaction I had to The Force Awakens, it's totally different. It was a totally different experience, and Last Jedi. But with this one, I felt like a kid watching this because I didn't know much about it. I'm going in blind, and I got a smile on my face. And then when
Yeah,
the
a
snap
lot of
came,
smiling in this movie, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think that. I mean, I guess in hindsight, you're like, well, duh. But going into it, I was like, I don't think they'll. Like, it is a Disney brand. Yeah, I mean, we want to be lighthearted. I didn't think they were going to go the way they did. Obviously, I understand pretty much everybody's coming back, but what this movie, what it means by itself, powerful. Love it.
Yeah.
Love what they do with the ending.
Yeah, this movie is the best Marvel movie. It's fantastic. It elevated the villain status for these Marvel movies. You said like Thanos is the best villain in the MCU, and you also preface that with that might not be saying much, but to me, like I think there's still some solid villains in the MCU. You got Loki in there, and Thanos is excellent. This is Thanos' movie. And we've talked a shit ton about this movie, but for good reason, because I think it
Not
deserves
to cut you
it.
off, but you know what was such a smart decision to make this his movie? Is when we get to Endgame, it's the Avengers movie. It's what, like, we built to Infinity War, but we gave Thanos his movie to he means something now, and now we're going to get the core Avengers that we know and love.
Yes, and it's gonna be, yeah, you're right. And what the fuck was I trying to say there? It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna have that payoff because we are so attached to Thanos and we understand his motivation so clearly. And I'm super excited for Endgame. Something that will probably come up next episode is Endgame when we talk about our most anticipated for next year.
I don't think that is won't bury the lead there. That's definitely high up, but
Yes.
how high? You'll have to find
you'll
out.
have to tune in. So Ben, we were going to talk about this year more in review, and I think our best bet is, because that could be a big conversation, is to bring that to next episode when we also hit our most anticipated. We could do both those in one video. So
Yes.
we hit you with the tease at the beginning of this episode, so I apologize, but it will come next episode, maybe next week. I'm going to be away in BC for the 13th to the when is 13th to the 20th or so? I think that's when we're going. And
Okay.
so no episodes from then, but we'll plan it around that.
Yes.
I'm scared to fly. I'm shitting my pants a little bit. We're gonna be all right.
Okay.
But yeah, if I make it out alive on that plane, if I come back alive.
Well, if you make it back and you come back alive, you know what it's time for. It's time for Glass.
Glass, yes, I'm excited.
Glass.
I'm excited. Is this the year of the Shyamalan, Ben? Is this
Well,
where
he's had his comeback.
he's had his comeback?
He's been opening up the door, and now does he kick that door open,
Right.
or does that door hit him in the face?
Right. Good
I think
analogy.
that's-
Let's see. Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll find out if that door hits him in the face or if he kicks that open.
Alrighty. I think we should end it there then.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah, this
And
is
it's
more of a part. This is
2019.
like a part 1 of 2.
Yes.
For the closing of 2K18 to the welcoming of 2K19. Thank you for watching.
That is
listening
right.
to part 1. And yeah, is there anything else we should add or?
The only thing I'm gonna add is 2018. That was our, let's say, our first steps into a larger world.
Yes.
And 2019, we will step up our game.
Yes, I'm hoping to foam up my room. I have
Yes.
to buy. It's expensive though. That studio foam is crazy expensive. Birthday's coming up. Maybe I'll ask the fam
Yeah.
for some foam.
You know what? Here's my last thing. Again, this can just be a little running bit. I know it's unrealistic, but okay, let's say we've got a small segment of people that like to listen. If we'll build it up more in 2019, and hopefully we can get some interactive. We'll interact, and we'll make a whole hashtag for Jake and Ben Twitter. of
Yes, we should
get us to the episode 9 premiere.
Yes,
That's-
what you. Yes.
there it
Okay.
is.
You know what?
Unlikely, but there
I'll
we
get
go.
over
That's
my
the
fear of
hashtag.
flying for that too. I'll get over my
Yes.
fear of flying, so we can
That's
fly
right.
out there. All right. Oh, I just got the hiccups. What was I gonna say? Yeah, maybe we'll step up our video content. If we're
Yes.
trying something like that, I think our video content should step up a little bit. Whether it's movie reviews or something more inventive, I'm not sure. Like I know you're gonna be in school, and I got some other things going on, other video related things too. So whether I'm videoed out or not, I don't know. But we'll see. I think we should step that up and get Jake and Ben to the episode 9 premiere. Let's do it.
That's right.
do it.
That's right.
Alrighty. So
All right.
end it there, shall we? Ooh,
Bye for now.
Aquaman's a good movie. All right. See you later,
Cool.
everyone.